Hello there. So this video is going to be about my life when I was a teenager and I was living alone in the bush trapping possums. So for those of you who follow the channel, you'll know I'm no teenager anymore, so this is really old footage. This is most of the stuff I've filmed about 10 years ago. It was sort of the first stuff I'd ever filmed in the bush, so it's not the best quality, but I found it on the computer the other day and I thought, oh, this is quite interesting. I might put a video together and, you know, it might be entertaining, I hope. So yeah, just to give you a bit of context about what sort of is going on, what you're about to watch. Basically when I was 16 I left school and I went and lived in the bush and trapped possums in Te Urewera National Park. So Te Urewera is a patch of bush which is over 500,000 acres in size, and it's also surrounded by several other areas of bush, national parks and wilderness areas, which make the total area that most people call Te Urewera around 1 million acres. So yeah, basically 1 million acres of beautiful crystal clear rivers and streams, nice tawa faces, panga and mahoe guts, and then beautiful ridge lines which are covered in big old podocarps and beech trees when you get up into the higher stuff. And this is basically where I lived and worked for the first 4 years of my working life, or the last 4 years of my teenage years, I guess. So yeah, basically how that worked would be I'd go in the bush for usually a couple of weeks at a time trapping the possums. Sometimes I'd be in there for a month, and I think a couple of times I might have been in there for a month or two. And yeah, I'd just be in there trapping possums, building up a big pile of fur, and that's how I'd make money basically. So I'd go in there and try and get as much fur as I could, and then I would either carry it out on my back or I'd fly it out on a helicopter, and then I'd sell that fur to a fur buyer while I was out, and I'd buy a heap more food, and then I'd go back into the bush for another couple of weeks or another month or whatever. And I did that for about 4 or 5 years. I think from my 16th birthday to my 20th birthday I spent all those birthdays in the bush on my own. So yeah, I feel like that was a really good experience for me, and it certainly toughened me up a fair bit as a teenager. I learned a lot of life skills, and I learned a lot about being self-reliant and yeah, not relying on help from anyone else while I was in there, because there was no one else around, so everything you do, you have to do it yourself. And yeah, I learned a lot about possums as well. That was obviously my main goal because I was possum trapping. And so yeah, I learned heaps about them, what they eat. I cut open thousands of gut bags to see what they'd been eating. And I learned a lot about hunting other animals like deer. And I also learned heaps about cooking in an open fire, cooking with a camp oven. I used to make fresh bread every week pretty much. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. And I also learned a lot about the bush, a lot about the native plants. I had a native plant book with me all the time. And I'd sort of learn a plant every now and then. When I didn't know what it was, I'd break a leaf off and bring it back to camp and look at it in the book, look it up. Learned a lot about all the native birds that are in Te Urewera, and also all the little things that are going on, the insect life, the things that we kind of don't notice usually. And a lot of stuff going on there that is pretty awesome when you start looking at it. So yeah, I'll just play you this quick 6 or so minute clip of a vlog that I did back then of sort of a day in the life of a possum trapper. I apologise for the camera work quality, because looking back on it now it's like, oh man, that was terrible, but I've sort of tried to edit it to make it watchable, and I've put subtitles up so you can hear what I'm saying. So yeah, hope you enjoy it. Sweet. Okay, so we're just checking a trap line. I've been working for about a week, about 5 or 6 nights. This trap line at the moment's got 140 traps. I'm working on it. First trap's just up the hill here, so yeah, we'll go and see if we've caught one. Yeah. Yep, so we have got one in our first trap. Let's reset the trap. So this is the third trap, and it's the third possum too, so it's quite good. But yeah, hopefully the light's a bit better now. You can, hopefully it'll be a bit clearer. We started off just on dark, just as before the sun came up really, so it might have been a bit fuzzy, but the sun's getting up a little bit now. The day's getting on a bit now. Yeah, it's 20 past 1, and it was the 54th possum for the day. So yeah, we're making pretty good progress. There's not too much more to go. So yeah, it's just it's all downhill from here, down the ridge there. So yeah, we'll soldier on and yeah, we might get a early day, and if we're lucky. I just caught this possum here, and I noticed it's only got a stub for a tail. It's the first possum I've ever caught with no tail. You can actually hear there's another possum up there. Oh well, it's this is the last trip, so we've reached the end of our line eventually. And yeah, no, it wasn't too long a day. It's only 2:30 now, and yeah, so we got 72 possums in the end. 72 for the day. It's not a bad day. It's probably an average day considering the good weather. But yeah, so at the moment 72 possums. Out of it, Jill. Go on, bugger off. So 72 possums is worth about, at a roughly around 5 kilos of fur. That's what I think that stuff weighs that we got today. So 5 kilos. At the moment the price is around $115 a kilo. So it's pretty good money really. So yeah, we're about half an hour from our camp, so we'll cruise on down to camp and have a look at how much that stuff weighs. See how much it weighs. Feels pretty heavy. Oh yep, right on the dot, 5 kilos. So yeah, that's it's about what I thought it would be. Of course, spending that much time in the bush, I came across a lot of other animals other than possums. I'd see deer almost every day. Sometimes I'd see several in a day. I'd be bumping into them just about everywhere. I'd see them in the creeks. I'd see them up on the ridges. I'd see a lot on slip faces, and yeah, every now and then I'd shoot one. I usually had a small rifle that I'd carry in my pack, which was a 357 Magnum, and there were heaps of deer in these areas, obviously because they're so remote. They don't get hunted much, and deer in New Zealand, for those of you overseas, are introduced, so they don't have any natural predators. So yeah, there was heaps. They were easy to shoot, and quite often I'd bowl one off a slip face, and yeah, have it for tea, eat back steaks for a couple of weeks, and eye fillets and rump steaks and all that good stuff. And yeah, when I wasn't eating venison, I'd always have a little bit of possum on the menu. Yeah, usually just in a stew, and I'd chuck in a can of peaches and some onions and potatoes if I had them, and make a nice stew, have it with a bit of rice, and yeah, that was a good staple meal for me in there. And even now, possum's probably my favourite meat. But yeah, that just about sums up my time in the bush as a teenager anyway. Yeah, obviously learned heaps of skills while I was in there, and I'd recommend that experience to anyone. If I was going to pick one, or the best thing I learned while I was in there, it's probably not a practical skill, but it's just a outlook from living away from technology and cell phone reception and Wi-Fi connections and just the modern world in general. The basic needs of life are very, very simple, and they really come into focus when you haven't got any influence from the modern man-made world. When you're in nature, you soon realise that your needs are very, very basic, and as long as you've got food in your stomach and some food to eat going forwards, and you've got a dry place to sleep, you're pretty sussed. You're a pretty lucky person, really, and anything after that is just a bonus. So yeah, I'll leave you with that. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks heaps for watching, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Cheers.